Yeah, Shemai Josh. Just start with something that Stephen touched upon just now about the possibility of using you in the centre position. I know that's you were picked initially to play there before the Fiji game. How would you view that possibility?
Yeah, if that's where the coaches think I'm best fitted for the team, then that'll be an exciting challenge for myself. I had a little cameo there against Toulouse a few weeks back with Cardiff and enjoyed it. Sort of different experience, maybe a bit more touches of the ball, a bit more of a voice communicating wise. But wherever I'm needed, I'll be more than happy. As long as I get to wear that red shirt, then I'm happy to play anywhere.
Josh, there was no expectations last year. The Autumn Nations Cup was indifferent for yourselves. I think that's fair. Oddly, is it a similar situation this year? And is it gratifying in a way that many have written you off already, that you can use that?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like you said, it was similar to last year, wasn't it? I don't think many people expected us to win the championship, did they? So, we're always the same as a group. We always try and keep ourselves tight, keep what we're trying to do tight. And, we got confidence within the group that are here. We work extremely hard. I can guarantee you that. Everybody has really hit the ground running. And I think, noticeably, my end anyway, that the training intensity and the way that we've prepped these first sort of week and a half now has been considerably better and more intense than what we were in the autumn.
It was a surreal championship, wasn't it, last year, playing in the situation that you found yourselves, empty stadiums. I'm sure you're buzzing, looking forward to going out to that arena against one of the top sides in the world at the moment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Home or away, without spectators there, without any sort of fans or support creating that atmosphere, the noise. Like I said, whether you're home or away, it just isn't the same. It doesn't feel like a big international Six Nations fixture. But how good is it now to be able to go over to Dublin and have a packed Aviva? And that's the challenge we like, backs against the wall and let's go for it.
You say backs against the wall. Some would say a daunting challenge, given how Ireland featured in the autumn, beat New Zealand. Their provinces, as always, are flying and doing well in Europe. Wales haven't won there in a decade. I mean, how do you go about this challenge? And is it a case of, they've tried to strangle possession. They'll try and sort of win up front. How do you go about it?
Nothing much changes from our perspective. It's just getting better at the things we want to do. Ireland, as you mentioned, were brilliant in the autumn. Fair play to them. They had a terrific autumn series. But in terms of worrying about Ireland, then look, we do our usual analysis on them, but it's focusing on ourselves. There's aspects where we probably let ourselves down a little bit in the autumn, where we think we can be a lot more ruthless at, be a lot more efficient. And those are the type of things that we're trying to drill home at the minute, and really trying to focus on our own game, because ultimately when we're in possession of the ball, we need to be ruthless, put teams under pressure, and be efficient. And that's something that we're certainly trying to hammer home at the minute.
And it's an obvious thing to say, with most of the best sides now, perhaps South Africa play a different way.
Yeah,
they score tries. They realize the importance of scoring tries. I know that's obvious, but that was apparent last year. Your stats, I think you scored 20 last year. So is it a case of more of the same? Hopefully.
Yeah, well, that'd be ideal, wouldn't it? Yeah, like personally, yeah, them tries will help the team in any way, and as a collective, there's more to come. Certainly, it's frustrating sometimes when we watch games back from the autumn or previous Six Nations and see opportunities we miss, and I'm sure it's the same for all the other countries as well, where it's so difficult to take every opportunity because defenses are really good. Players make good defensive reads, but it's how ruthless we can be, how much pressure we can put on the other team, and the more effective and efficient we can be at doing that, the more chance of winning and scoring tries. So that's, like I said, that's something we're trying to make sure that we're really good at now for this whole campaign.
Cheers, Josh. All the best.
Okay, Geraint, coming to you.
Hi, Josh. Afternoon. Hope you're well.
All right, Nate.
Can I just ask whether sort of we're going to expect to see maybe a slight change in the brand of rugby that Wales Group play? I'm just picking up some of your answers there, talking about the intensity of the training, noticeably different. Listen, we know that you're missing a lot of experienced players, the younger players coming to the fore, again, whether it's the team or the squad. Would we be sort of expecting maybe a different type of brand of rugby from Wales, or a slight change in terms of maybe taking more risks, playing at a faster pace when you can?
I wouldn't say any change in how we go about things. No drastic changes. I just think being better at it. We look at the opportunity you create with the way we play, and it's how much better we can get at finishing them opportunities. So what I meant was, when I talked about intensity and hitting the ground running, I thought that everything we were doing, no different really to what in the autumn, but was at a much higher intensity. I thought there was a lot more zip to it. There was a lot more bite in our play. And that obviously feeds confidence. So I thought the first week and a half that we've been together, in terms of that aspect, we've been no different to what we were doing in the autumn in some ways. Obviously small variations, of course, but our intensity as a whole in both backs and forwards was a lot better.
Josh, can you just explain as well what it means? It's such an intense tournament like the Six Nations, which is actually short with just sort of the 5 games each. In terms of getting off to a winning start, getting momentum, how does that actually affect the players on the ground?
Yeah, well, it's of course it's vitally important, isn't it? You've seen over the years gone by, the teams that usually close to the top of the table, going into the last weekend with a chance of winning it, majority of the time win their first opening game, don't they? That's sort of something that is a trend, if you like. So, of course, Ireland away, tough challenge. We've been to France away and done it a couple of years back. We started with Ireland home last year and done it. So, yeah, it's important because it's like a snowball effect. You sort of gather that momentum. Your confidence builds and things like that, and you gradually go through the tournament and get better and better. So it's important that you start well, but also you create that momentum going forward. And it's probably no different to any of the teams as well.
And Josh, just a quick one on COVID, if I may, just from a personal perspective as a player, just living in a bubble and sort of having to behave the way you have. And I've just been speaking with some athletes out in Beijing for the Winter Olympics. They didn't see their family and friends Christmas, New Year to try and keep away from COVID. Living in a bubble, how fed up of it are you? How difficult is it to work in that environment?
In terms of like getting things done on the rugby side, it's quite handy because there's no excuses, because you can't go anywhere, you can't really do anything. So there's no excuses in terms of your recovery's on point, your analysis is up to scratch. You've got loads of time to sit on the computer, study whatever wherever you need to, time to speak to coaches, be on the physio bed, etc., etc. So in terms of a rugby point of view, it's actually quite handy. But as a dad now, and speaking for a lot of the other boys with young families and fiancés, girlfriends, wives, it's tough, especially with at a young age, and they're changing all the time, and it is difficult. Usually pre-COVID, when we were based in the Vale, we'd be able to go home on a Tuesday night after training and spend the evening at home and then come back in Wednesday night. So you'd have that little break, in the week to sort of break it up, which would be quite nice, sort of like get home and switch off and spend time with the family and whatnot. But I think it'd be nice if we could scrap the bubbles going forward, I think. But we have to do what we have to do to ensure that we're all safe and we can play these games.
Nice one, Josh. Thanks ever so much. Best of luck at the weekend.
Cheers.
Thanks. Okay, we've got one from Matt quickly then. Others written in the chat move to Welsh, and then we've got an embargoed section, but I am very tight on time, I'm afraid. So we'll see how much we can get in both of those for you.
Josh, just a quick one then. Just picking up on another question about the intensity of training and things like that. I just wondered why you think that has gone up a little bit in this campaign. Is it just because it is the Six Nations and it is tournament rugby, or do you think that's happened because all of a sudden you don't have the 700 odd caps of players around, so everybody is pitching in to step up?
I think more the first point you said really was, with Six Nations, I think I'd like to think everybody's game picks up at this time. There's a lot of excitement, obviously, building into the Six Nations. It's advertised well. It's the best international competition in the world, and when you come into a Six Nations camp, you sort of know what's ahead, and I think that probably adds to the intensity where there's no sort of we can see how it goes, we can build, and this is we have to win. It's about winning now, and I think that probably adds to why the intensity and stuff raises when we come in. Yeah.
Cheers, Josh.